What is going on, guys? This is Versus All Gaming with my review of Kill la Kill episode 21, and I don't know how they do it. I don't know how every freaking week this anime keeps getting better and better. This episode right here, it was freaking incredible. I loved everything about it. It was just amazing to me. So the episode, it starts off with this like little flashback here, or at least it seemed like a flashback, as we go into the mind of Ryuko once he is wrapped in Senketsu. And we see now that we have Ryuko and Nue here, and they're like just twisting her mind around. And we actually done something pretty interesting. Like, even though Nue's body is infused with life fibers, it resists all other kind of life fibers, so she can never wear a god robe. And so that is why she kind of took this job, and that is why now she is currently, making the ultimate god robe, because she can never wear one, so she might as well, make them. And that right there was like very interesting. But we see that, after Senketsu, first took her over, we see now that before she left to deal with Satsuki, because we learned that Ryuko's assistant, told her that she escaped, we see that Ryuko here, she actually kissed Nue, and to me, that right there was like kind of crazy, because I would never expect that. Like, to me, it kind of caught me off guard, and it was just interesting. And so now we go to, Ryuko and Satsuki fighting, and their fight, it was actually pretty freaking cool. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely enjoyed that a lot. We see that, Satsuki here, she actually does transform with Senketsu, and that right there did surprise me. But it's kind of like the same thing when she was wearing Senketsu, and even though that is very disappointing, we actually see Senketsu forms make a comeback, because now at this point it has been a while since we've seen them. And so during their fight, she brought out the Gale, and she brought out the Blade form, and she even combined forms. That right there was awesome. So the possibilities now that Ryuko, when she does put on Senketsu again, the possibilities that these forms have now, they have now just gone up, because we have seen that it's possible to combine them. So that right there was awesome. And I did enjoy that fight a lot. It was kind of like disappointing to see Satsuki, lose so badly, because Ryuko right now, she's a beast. I will say that. It's so much like she's unstoppable. And so now we see that the Elite Four, they were planning on getting involved in this fight, but Mako here stopped them, because she had this important message, to deliver to them, that we didn't see play a role till like later on. So we just focus right now on this fight between Ryuko and Satsuki, and their fight was good, even when Satsuki was definitely losing. And we learn now that it was the same case here, where she was just wearing Senketsu. She was not really using his powers. Senketsu himself, he was the one that like going into these different forms, and Satsuki here was just like benefiting from them, but they were like never on the same page. And since they couldn't really connect, it led to her downfall. So even though that right there was disappointing, this fight, it did not take away from that. It just built up on that, because their fight, it was incredible. Even when Satsuki, had lost, and Ryuko was just like pounding her face in, I will say that those blows that Ryuko was like delivering to Satsuki, they definitely seemed powerful and didn't like it hurt, but Satsuki was like staying strong. And even Senketsu was saying that the burden that is on her body right now from like wearing him, even knowing that they really can't connect and it's almost impossible, Satsuki is the only person that can really do this. So that goes to show you, even though she's like down and out, she is still fighting so strong. And I definitely like how she's using her two new weapons, because her sword is like no longer there. It's now like a knife and a short blade. So even though it's not that long sword that we know her for, she is still fighting pretty freaking good. And so now it definitely was looking too good. And so the elite four here had to step in, and we have Nonan with these cannons. And then we have Sanagiyama here with these Wolverine, kind of like weapons, and like those claws that he had, they were actually pretty cool. I do wonder if they were like based off that like a Taylor dagger that we saw a few episodes ago, because they're like based off that I can really see those being effective down the line. And even though it seemed like Ryuko, which is fitting them off, they definitely had a backup plan here, because it was mainly to like lure Ryuko into this trap where she thought that that their main attack here, it was going to be by Hoka, who had these like 3 cannons prepared for her. And we see that after he attacked her with them, she was not hurt at all. But the real plan here, it was to let Mako use, I mean not Mako, it was to let Ira use that cannon to force them apart. But we see that when he tried to do that, it didn't seem like at first it was working. But then we see out of nowhere that the cannon stops, and then we have New appearing now, and she destroys the cannon. And that right there did kind of suck, because that cannon was like very effective. And so now that it's gone, I do hope that they can make a new one, because that right there will play like a major role here in the story. But then we go to Ryuko, who had returned to the covers, or what the company called, Reeboks. She had returned there, and we see that she's meeting with all these people. And of course now she's like telling them about their plan, about how the world is like being covered in covers. But her real goal here was to actually turn these men into slaves for the clothes. And we see now that all these threads, they're now attaching to them, and they're pulling them upward, and they're now being eaten by the clothes that we saw previously. And then we go to the original life fiber, and we just see that all of these suits are now surrounding it. And then she brought all these other businessmen there, and they also got eaten up or devoured by the clothes. And even now we have her butler here, who was actually dumb enough to actually want it to happen to him. But we see now that the original life fibers, once it absorbed enough people, I guess, we see that it went through this like extreme change. And I believe that she called the process the genesis of the cocoon planet. I believe that's what it's called. Like maybe I'm wrong about that, but I do believe that I heard that somewhere in the episode. And we see now that basically the original life fiber, it now became like this massive, almost like a ship kind of thing. And we see now that Ryuko, she's flying it to some location. I'm not sure where, but she's definitely headed somewhere with this like massive life fiber. And so now back to our our main part here of the episode. We have Mako here now springing into action, and we actually learn that Aikiro, he was saying that he was like rather surprised that Mako was able to deliver this message. And we see that Satsuki actually wrote it down on her hands, so that way she'll remember it perfectly. So that right there was amusing, because we all know that Mako is definitely not the brightest person. But we see now that he is definitely not going to let anything happen to Ryuko, and she wants to be there for her. And we see now that when she goes there, we have Ryuko here, like listening to Mako, and of course Mako words aren't reaching her. And normally Mako is the only one that could bring Ryuko down to earth and bring her back to normal. But at first it wasn't working. And we see now that that New here, she was actually planning on killing Mako because she found her very annoying. And we have Senketsu, who actually cut off by Ryuko off Senketsu. He actually charges in, and he pushes her out the way, so that way New can't hurt her. And we see now that Mako, she's now wearing Senketsu. And I gotta say, if she would have tried to use Senketsu, that right there, would have shocked me. I'm not gonna lie. Having her wearing Senketsu and fighting Ryuko, that could have been a very interesting way to like bring her back, because these are her 2 best friends here, and I'm pretty sure that they could definitely reach her over her sister trying in that fight. But then we have New versus Satsuki, and their little back and forth. That right there was also pretty good. And we actually have Satsuki here bringing up a pretty good point, because if Ryuko was like really on their side, then why doesn't New here hand over the other half of the scissor blade? Because that would make Ryuko here that much more unstoppable. So it wouldn't make sense for her to have it, because with her having both halves, I can imagine that nobody can really beat her. But because the fact that New can hand over to Ryuko, it goes to show you that they really don't trust her. And Satsuki and them, they could definitely bring her back to their side. And after Satsuki had managed to fend off New, because Ryuko, well, because Nue actually got Ryuko to try to kill Senketsu and Mako, and we have Mako family here, protecting her. And not only did they want to protect her, but they also wanted to protect Ryuko as well. But we see that Satsuki had used this to her advantage, and she was actually able to pry open part of Senketsu, and she inflicted damage on Ryuko. And that little opening right there gave Senketsu and Mako the chance, to actually go inside Ryuko. Now, I thought at first Senketsu was only able to do that, but of course, in this crazy anime, anything is to be expected. And we actually have Mako going inside her as well. And so now we see that we're like in her mind, and of course we're like viewing these false images that Ryuko had planted into her mind. And of course we go back to her wedding day, and we see that the door, like the chapel, like one of the door handles, come flying open, and it hits her fake fiance in the back of her head, and he just falls over. So obviously, this person is not real. But we have Mako and Ryuko. We have Mako and Senketsu coming in there, and they're confronting Ryuko. And we see now that, she thinks that this right here, like the ultimate happiness, and she does not want anybody to come in there to mess it up. And so she actually pulls out her scissor blade and she points it at Mako. And so now Mako is still trying, and Ryuko is like fending her off. But every time she tried to, Mako would just come and cling to her. And so at one point, Mako was saying that if she really wants to live in this cooped up happiness, then she'll go ahead and kill her. But if she does that, she has to stop pretending to be, Ryuko. Because we all know that if Ryuko ever killed Mako or even hurt her, then that right there would be the worst pain she ever felt. And so we see now, like at one point, Ryuko actually brings the blade now. And for a second there, I really thought that, she actually attacked Mako, but she actually cut Senketsu. Now, I have no idea how crazy I would have went if we actually saw Ryuko killing Mako, but I am glad that it was Senketsu instead. And now we just see the blood, gushing everywhere, and it just covered Ryuko and that white dress she was wearing. And so now we have, like, I'm not really sure how to describe it. I'm guessing it's like the sea, I guess, like gushing out of Ryuko, and it shoots out Mako and Senketsu. So now we have Nue here, who plans on taking everybody out, and so that her and Ryuko can go away. And we see now that we have Ryuko falling back to her senses. I'm glad that, this happened in one episode, because, it made it that much better. Like, rather than, like, putting it off, like some other series might do, we have all this stuff happen in one episode. And we just see out of nowhere with, like, this insane strength, Ryuko just throws her scissor sword, and it impales Nue. And not only does it hurt her, but it sends her flying into the ship. And you can just tell for, like, the first time, Nue was, like, caught off guard. So it's not like she was able to dodge this, because this really hurt her. And so now we have Ryuko finally back to her senses, and she's ripping off Junketsu. But we all know that if that happens, she'll die. But it's like she doesn't care. And we see that when she's like turning off, we have all this blood everywhere. But she's saying she has to do this, because if she doesn't, then she could never wear Senketsu again. And that's how you know that, Ryuko's back. And now that she's back, they're gonna take down Nue, and she definitely gonna get the other scissor sword, because it was hinted in this episode, so why wouldn't it happen in the next one? But like I said, this episode, it was crazy. We had so much going down, and I loved it. Like I said in the beginning of the review, I have no idea how Kill la Kill gets better every week, but this episode, it was just crazy, and I loved it so much. I give this episode like an A+ rating, because to me it was that freaking good, and it definitely deserved it. But I would love to hear what you guys thought about this, and as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out. And you guys take it easy, and I'll see you all next time.